Hey, welcome to episode 3. It's quite alarming that we're at this place now of realization that you've become a gang member, a thug. Now, I don't enjoy talking about this. It's actually kind of disturbing. It actually brings back some memories, some thoughts that I'm not too proud of. So bear with me on this session as we go into this more in-depth discussion of unleashing the best from the worst. Mind you, today, please understand that I'm a different man. I'm a different person. I'm a different human being. You know, I've enjoyed quite a bit of success since my release from incarceration in 2012. So understand that, please understand that I'm not talking to you today as someone that is still in that lifestyle, that indulge in any form or fashion of that life that I once participated in as a thug. But I want to say, now that we're going into a more deeper area of being an actual gang member, I would try my best to avoid specific crimes that were committed, because I don't want to implicate anyone in any crimes that they've never been convicted of, or incriminate myself from past crimes. So I want to be careful in how I talk about this next episode that we're in, of unleashing the best from the worst. Because now I'm a gang member, right? Now in this life of being a gang member, I'm starting to experience changes in my attitudes. The attitude towards my teachers in school, attitude towards siblings, attitude towards my own parents, attitude towards the pastor of the church, just in general, the neighbors, the community, how we feel when we're in this condition. It's a very interesting place to be in when you really think about it, because as we grow in our adolescence, we become older and we're changing. We're already going through a change where our bodies are changing, we're developing. But for someone like this, you're talking about development that is along the wrong path. It's not the development of having mentors. It's not the development of being in school and getting good grades and playing sports, having pretty much the right people around you in your environment. It's a development that's happening that's teaching you the rules of the streets, the rules of surviving in a lawless sense in the world versus being law-abiding. And that's when your belief system changed, your belief window, the things that you once believed in growing up, that you were taught by your parents, that you were taught by your teachers, that you were taught in your early stages of development as a youth, are gone. They're literally challenged because that doesn't fit with the current lifestyle that you're going into in becoming this bad person. It doesn't fit. So anything that doesn't fit has to be tossed out as a bad thing. So when you encounter someone like that, if you encounter someone that is on the straight and narrow, how's that person treated now? These are the kids that end up being bullied. These are the kids that end up being teased. All of these things begins to happen as you become this bad person. So understand what that means and how that changes the dynamics of your development. Because once you cross that line of actually doing something that warrants your arrest, that warrants your being chastised or anything like that, right? Once that happens, you're a different human being. You're literally a different human being. It's all about now going with the flow. You're just gonna go with the flow. For me, without getting too specific, I found myself in an environment where a group of us were in a place where things began to transpire. Things begin to transpire. Physical violence began to happen. And you have that really brief window, that moment where you have to decide. Am I going to say, oh man, what have I done? Let me move away from this life. Let me step back. This is not who I am. You have that short, really small window to say that in that scenario. As you're realizing that you're no longer the child, the young man that your parents were raising you to be. That moment of thought that goes through your brain when all of the fighting and violence, everything is beginning to happen, and you're with that group. You're with that group, and you have to decide. I'm in or I'm out. Now, we already know the consequences if I say I'm out. The consequences if I say, no, I can't do this. The challenges of, do I have a big brother at home? Do I have someone that's going to protect me? Am I going to still wake up every day in the same neighborhood and community and face these same people that I said no to? What do I do? Do I go with it? Do I try to justify the bad and say, you know what? If I go with it, I'm going to be looked at as a tough guy. I'm going to be looked at as somebody that's admired. Somebody that, this guy don't play. He don't mess around. Check him out. You did that, bro. Right on, man. Come on. We together. We got this. Let's go do this. Let's go terrorize this community. Let's go terrorize this neighborhood. Let's go terrorize these weak people amongst us. Right? You only have a small window to make that decision. Very small. But for me, obviously I made the bad decision. I ended up in jail. I ended up going through juvenile facilities. I ended up going to county jails. I ended up in prison. Right? So obviously I made the wrong choice. For me, I thought that was the choice that I needed to make, to not only be alive, to be pat on the back, to be seen as somebody that's, he got it. I needed that for my ego. I needed that because this might give me somewhere else in life that maybe I might like it. I might like driving down the street in lowriders and playing loud music and being disruptive and loud. I might enjoy doing that. That might be what I really want to do. And I made that choice to go to the other side. I went to the other side. My dress code changed. I made sure I shopped for the things that gang members dress attire. I began to do these things because I realized that I wanted to go for it and see what's the end result. And when you do that, there's no turning back. There's literally no turning back. Because once you cross that line and you become that bad person, that's it. It's a done deal. You can't go back now. It's too late. Because there's a worse circumstance. You better off when you have that split moment to decide this is not for me before it happens the first time. If you don't make that decision, then you might as well stay in the game. That's the mentality. That's the mindset. You might have survived and been okay if you had to say, you know what, I'm not gonna do that. This is, fellas, nice knowing you. I'm out. You probably would have survived. I probably would have survived going that route and saying, you know what, I'm about to buckle down. I'm about to go back to school. I'm about to get my grades up. I'm about to go get with my siblings and say, hey, I need help with homework. I need to get it together. Just imagine, I could have did that and would have probably been better off. But had I attempted to do that, make that type of choice after I've already crossed that line and got involved with the violence, with the fights, with the gang activity, and then decide after a week or two or whatever, you know what, man, I probably would have been in worse shape. I might have would have been jumped, killed, stabbed, dragged. No telling what would have happened to me. This is the life that many folks don't really understand. They try to make it look good in Hollywood. You know, they show you these movies and, you know, people get excited and like, oh, yeah, look at that. Them dudes, man, that's what I'm talking about. He was a gangster. You know, they try to make it look good, make it feel like you really something. But you're nothing. You're just a loser. You're becoming a loser. And that's the reality. And this is what I did. I continued along that path. And as I realized this was happening to me, I ended up in high school, didn't graduate from middle school, wasn't allowed to walk the stage because my grades wasn't where they needed to be. I had to go to summer school, went to a middle school, Enterprise. Our current school, which was Vanguard Junior High School, wasn't offering summer school the year that I was to graduate, or attempting to graduate. So I ended up going to Enterprise Middle School, Junior High School at the time. And back then, junior high school went all the way up to the 9th grade. So you graduated from the 9th grade, then you end up in the 10th grade at high school. So this was another opportunity, again, for me to get it together. Get it together. Ended up at a junior high school that was the school of my so-called enemies. You know, we were Bloods at our school, at Vanguard, and at Enterprise, they were Crips. The enemies. We were the red and they were the blue. And they told me, look, if you want to graduate, if you want to make it to high school, you're going to go to summer school at Enterprise. I said, okay. Guess what? First day of school, I'm in trouble. I'm getting into it with folks. I brought a knife to school. And my father was called from work. Never forget. They called a group of us inside the auditorium, and we thinking it was some kind of orientation or whatever. But they wanted us in there because they wanted to see who was at their school. that's going to be creating a problem for them. So we had the staff, the faculty, all in the gymnasium, and I'm there. A group of us are there from our school. There's a group of the kids that attend that school. And we're in there, and we're wondering what's going on because they're all standing in front of us, like, watching us, with their arms folded, standing in front of us, watching us. And I'm like, what's going on, right? So a few minutes go by, and here the door swings open real hard to the gymnasium, and it was law enforcement. Law enforcement was coming in to give us a pep talk. They came in there and said, we know that some of you kids are from another school that wear red, and this is a school that wears blue. They made it plain, and they told us that they wasn't going to tolerate it. They told us they wasn't going to tolerate it. But of course, we're kids. We're not listening. A few days go by, ruckus, fighting, fists is swinging, bad, all bad, right? They call my father at work. He was the contact that they had. Called my father, and my father was tough. My father was, tough guy. And when they called him up to the school, they had me in the office. And before he got there, they had me in handcuffs. They know they should have been doing that, right? We're still kids, ninth grader. And they took the cuffs off before he got there. And when he got there, he was, you could see it on his face, like, this guy, this boy, right? And I sat down. The school security walked in along with my teachers and, staff, administrators. And they said, now that you're here, Mr. Wiley, we want to search your son. We want to search. Remember, I said I had a knife I brought to school. Luckily, I got rid of that knife before all of that stuff happened. When I seen law enforcement on campus, I got rid of that knife. But when they searched me, pat me down, checked my wallet, I had a marijuana joint in my wallet. It literally fell out. When they opened my wallet, the marijuana joint fell out. This is the 80s, y'all. You're not doing this to my kind of parents, right? So immediately when that marijuana dropped on the ground, my father looked up and swung on me. Boom! They were like, oh, started the whole office. Because he's a big, big hands. My father was, he swung, boom. I was like, man. But you know what? I didn't cry. And I just picked up my wallet, left the joint down there, and was like, I just kind of like, okay, this is the direction I'm going in, I guess. I accepted that this would be my life. Very sad. We'll talk more about that in the next episode. Peace.